Hello, fellow creeps. Welcome to another episode here on Creepy with Coffee. I'm Kim, your storyteller. Well, for tonight, have you ever had something followed you home? Not a person, but something else. This terrifying story takes you deep into a night filled with death, grief, and an encounter so real it nearly broke the person who wrote this story. From the morgue of a Klang Hospital, this is not just any ghost story, it's a haunting you won't forget. Well, grab your drink, dim your lights, and let's get on with the story.
This is Creepy with Coffee.
It was around 11 p.m. when I got home from work. My usual routine, I would sit at the dining table, scroll through my phone for like 30 minutes, 45 minutes before heading to a shower. I would do it every night, but that night, my phone rang. It was my mother. She told me something that froze me in place. The unborn child of my niece had died in the womb. She was 6 months pregnant with twins. I was stunned, speechless. These babies, this family, I had cared for them since they were little. I just couldn't process it. Condolences to their family. My kids were already asleep. My husband was working a night shift. I felt crushed. I didn't know who to talk to, who to cry to, but I gathered myself and tried calling my niece. No answer, so I texted her husband. Not long after, my niece called back, sobbing, obviously, because of what happened. Then she asked me to help arrange the burial. I was overwhelmed. I'd never handled anything like this before. But my niece, you see, she was an orphan, so there was no one else to help her. So I stepped up. By then, it was already 12:30 a.m. when I left for the hospital alone. My husband, after telling him of what happened, said he would join me later from his workplace. The moment I reached the hospital compound, it was quiet, not sure whether because it's in the middle of the night. I then circled the building twice before finding the morgue. I finally reached it just after 1 a.m. My niece and husband arrived shortly after. Somehow, when we were walking around or staying in front of the morgue, a woman I didn't know pulled me towards the body, maybe a relative from the wife's side. But I panicked and backed away and said, "Sorry, I wasn't ready. I couldn't face it." Then my husband's friends came to help settle things as well, and the morgue staff decided to release the bodies early the next morning. Now, everything was set, documents was done, and everyone started to head back. Then I was alone again. At that time, I just had to use the restroom. I just couldn't hold it anymore. There was a building about 300 meters from the morgue, and I was told the toilet is at that building. So I walked there by myself. I did my business and left quickly, heading back to the morgue to find my husband, which was waiting for me there. Then I heard it. A man's voice. I turned. There I saw a figure that was walking towards me from the darkness. But the weird part is, where the man or the figure was, there was no path there. Every hair on my body stood up. Well, I want to give a big thanks to Chi Sun Liang for buying me coffee. Like I said in the previous episode, every bit helps, so thank you so much. For those who wanted to help to support the channel, the link is down below in the description. Now, I also has monetized my YouTube channel, so if you can watch all the ads and at the same time, give me a super thanks in the channel if you don't want to go to the Buy Me a Coffee website, that would be great as well. Thank you very much for the support. The moment I see that man, I started to walk faster. He called again. Emmy, I want to follow you home. I snapped. I turned around, ready to confront whatever is in front of me, and then I saw him. His face was smashed, bloody. His shirt was soaked in blood, jeans torn, eyes empty. I froze. My tongue was stuck. My body wouldn't move. My brain was blank. I couldn't recite any surah. I couldn't scream for help. Nothing. I was just froze. Then the person or whatever that was said something that shattered me. Did you know I'm already dead? My heart nearly exploded. I couldn't even pray. I stood there like a stone. Finally, I gathered enough, whatever that is left in me. Scream, don't follow me! I guess it was loud enough. A nearby security guard heard me and came running. I started reciting Ayatul Kursi, blowing to my left, my right. My steps were heavy, but I pushed forward. The moment I reached the morgue gates, I sat down at the roadside, shaking. My husband found me and suggested we go to the Bandar Botanic first. He said he didn't want me to go straight home because we have young ones at home. And the elders always said, never go home straight after either the cemetery, the morgue, or anyway with death. So we stopped by at a Mamak store. My husband came straight from work on his motorbike and I drove myself, so we were both in a different vehicle. As we were heading to the Mamak store, I prayed nothing would follow me. But halfway there, I heard plastic rustling in the back of my MPV. So for those who do not know what is MPV, it's like a bigger car but with compartments at the back. So usually people would store stuff, right? So probably Emmy in the story had some plastic inside the MPV. That's when she heard the plastic rustling. She brushed it off. Then I heard a loud thud. Something had fallen. Was it inside the car? Or on the car? I didn't know. I couldn't stop. My body was cold, numb. I stared ahead, refusing to look at the rearview mirror. I seriously didn't want to know. Luckily, thank God, I arrived at the Mamak store. I could see my husband already sat down. I parked, got out, and slammed the door shut. Well, as I was walking, I actually took a glance at the trunk. Thankfully, there was nothing there. So I sat down with my husband. I still hadn't told him what happened. So my husband don't know what I saw at the hospital, what happened in my car. And then I saw him behind the trees. The man that I saw earlier on in the hospital, he is now behind the trees. I stared at him hard. My husband was still busy ordering, looking at menu, but I just couldn't get my eyes out of the person behind the trees. Suddenly, the man started walking slowly towards me. That is when I see it again, a face, that broken, bloody face. My heart stopped and I whispered, "He's here." My husband asked, "Huh? Who?" "The one that followed me from the hospital. He wants to come home with me." The moment I turned, the man was sitting next to me, next to my husband, in the middle of us. Right there, I could see blood dripping from his shattered skull, one eye gone, mouth moving but no sound came out. I couldn't move. My heart went fuzzy. My vision blurred. I felt my soul was outside my body. Then he screamed on top of his lungs, "Why did he banish me?" He was looking straight at my husband, but no one else reacted. No one else in the Mamak stall could hear that scream. Everyone is like normal, drinking, watching TV, sitting around chit-chatting. No one else reacted, only me. I couldn't breathe. That is when I finally hear my husband say, "Is it still there?" And just like that, he faded. I asked my husband, "Did you do something?" And my husband answered, "Just recited some holy verses." We then sat there in silence. My teh tarik sat untouched. I forced a few sips, still visibly shaken. I refused to drive home alone. I then followed my husband's motorbike closely to get home. At home, we did wudu outside before entering. We barely spoke. And the next day, I cleaned myself with the ruqyah water, which I always made available, or it's always available at home. Since then, I have not seen the man. But I still avoid the hospital because I can still picture his face, clear as night. Well, that's all for tonight's episode. If you have made it this far, thank you for staying me through this intense and horrifying experience. Well, do you believe that spirits don't rest easy? Leave it down below in the comment section. I would love to read each and every one of your comments. Once again, if you have yet to do so, please help me subscribe to the channel. It would help this channel a lot. Till the next time, good night, fellow creeps. Stay safe and stay creepy.